Welcome back to KC Talks EV, and yes, I'm finally in the BYD Atto 3. First of all, I just want to give a massive thank you to the organisers at the London to Brighton EV rally for lending me this vehicle, both for the rally as well as for testing purposes. I have left a link in the description if you would like to find out a little bit more and possibly join the rally in 2025. In this video, we're going to be first of all talking about specification. Next, we're going to be talking about the positives and the driving experience. Finally, we're going to finish off with the improvements, so some areas that I think BYD should definitely improve on. And finally, who is this vehicle actually for? What's its main competitors? What you should be considering as well. So without further ado, let's get started. To start off with, let's talk about specification. So we're looking at a 62 kilowatt hour total capacity and a 60.5 kilowatt hour usable capacity. The huge benefit for this vehicle and a lot of the BYD vehicles is that they use a lithium iron phosphate or LFP lithium cell. This is definitely reflected in its battery warranty. So it is one of the larger ones. So it's an 8-year, 125,000 mile warranty. It is slightly longer compared to most manufacturers. They look around the 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty. Now, I just want to put this into perspective and a bit of a side note. Because this is a lithium iron phosphate pack, generally speaking, we say that you'll get around 3,000 to 3,500 cycles, and that is the 80% state of health. To put in perspective, that is nearly, if you're talking 200 miles or so, that is 600 to 700,000 miles on a battery pack. If we are worrying about battery health at this point, I think we need to worry about the rest of the car before we reach those sort of limits. And bear in mind that is the 80% health. This vehicle will probably still have, if you're talking 200 miles, around 150, 160 miles of range still after that, 500,000 miles, 600,000, 700,000 miles. I don't think we need to worry about this. The rest of the car is going to be a bit more of a worry in my honest opinion. WLTP combined range is 260 miles. There is going to be a range test out as well, so make sure that you are subscribed for that. And AC charging options, 11 kilowatt free phase with 90 kilowatt on the DC using a CCS plug. I have been able to achieve that as well. There is something I will mention in the rooms for improvement. Rear boot space, we're looking at 440 litres. This is ever so slightly smaller than the 480 litres you get from the ZS EV long range. But bear in mind, this has a better, in my opinion, false boot floor. This one actually is basically completely flat, whereas actually there is a small lip with the ZS EV long range. I honestly think this is slightly better, in my opinion. In terms of specification level, this is the design trim, so this is the top spec model. Really though, I would say that the comfort trim's everything that you need. You only really lose out on 3 things. Vehicle to load. If you do camping, for example, it might be worthwhile. You lose out on the electric boot opening. I do quite like it, but most of the vehicles that I test don't have it, so I'm not really that fussed about it. And finally, the touchscreen is ever so slightly smaller. This is a 15.6-inch touchscreen, whereas actually the comfort trim has a 12.8-inch touchscreen. Finally, the one thing that is slightly disappointing with this vehicle is that you get absolutely 0 kilograms of towing capacity at all. The Mark II ZS EV long range actually gets 500 kilograms, and it is a bit of a token. A small trailer or a bike carrier, for example, would be absolutely fine with 500 kilograms. I think that would have been a very good idea. A lot of people take their vehicles to recycling centres or take them on holiday. I would expect that something like, 500 kilograms would have been fine. So in terms of positives and driving characteristics, now this vehicle is actually a compact SUV. So therefore, things like the Mark II ZS EV long range will be a very good sort of point of comparison. The handling isn't going to be great because, we've got a taller ride height, for example, higher centre of mass. But the body roll, in my opinion, is much better controlled compared to the Mark II ZS EV. I also believe that the refinement's better as well. The instant I got into the vehicle, it was very clear that the actual road noise from the tyres and the wind noise was actually better compared to the Mark II ZS EV. It's also very well dampened. So even if it might be, on par with the ZS EV in terms of its noise profile, in my opinion, actually sitting in the vehicle, it seems to be definitely quieter. Also, on top of this, I've driven this vehicle from Grimsby to Brighton and back, 560 miles. It's been absolutely fine. The seats, the bolstering is very, very supportive. Even though it doesn't have lumbar support or lumbar changes, I wish it did, but it's been absolutely fine. In total, I've driven this vehicle, 700-800 miles in its testing, and it's been very, very comfortable. The other thing as well is that the interior quality in general, in my opinion, is better than the ZS EV. I think there is a lot more soft touch plastics. In terms of the actual the quality of the interior, I think, you know, it's definitely going to be fairly hard wearing. I don't really see many issues surrounding that. Overall, yeah, very nice place to be, very comfortable. A few quirky design choices as well, you know, the door handle, for example, and the shifter. But it is very, very homogenized, very kind of, it's definitely got a design ethos which they're following. In terms of rooms for improvement, first of all, I definitely think they could have done better with the language localization on the infotainment system. So the infotainment, it's absolutely fine, very responsive, but in reality, there's one key phrase that I had a look at in the settings. It was called new energy. What they actually meant was energy consumption. And I think if they actually did better with the localization, it just strikes me as something where it was a bit of a lost thought. And bear in mind that they sell this vehicle in the UK and in Europe. I think better localization will just make it a better package overall. The other thing is it is based on an Android infotainment system. We all know this. Another thing is you do not get Android Auto. I still have an Android phone. I mostly use my iPhone nowadays, but it does have Apple CarPlay, but no Android Auto. It is, I believe, an OTA or over-the-air update. You have to go to the dealer, I think it is. So maybe it's not quite OTA as they want to. That, again, it should be in place already on vehicles sold. The other thing is that you cannot reset the efficiency figures. So the total one, you cannot reset at all. You can reset the last 50 miles, but that's not very useful. I wish they had like an accumulated total, much better that the driver can reset. Finally, this is a software bug, no Tesla supercharging. I only found this out as I got to a Tesla supercharger. I originally thought that that was a issue with my payment method, but nope, turns out this vehicle cannot Tesla supercharge, and I believe it is a software bug that they're trying to address at the moment. Finally, who do I think that the BYD Atto 3 is actually for, and more importantly, what's its main competitor? Now, I've already mentioned probably its biggest competitor, which is the Mark II ZS EV. You might be wondering why other competitors, for example, might not be in the ring, and the sole reason why is that essentially I have a feeling that the brand awareness just isn't there at the moment. BYD definitely is coming up leaps and bounds at the moment, and therefore I would definitely say that in maybe 4 or 5 years' time, it'll be good to compare things like Hyundai, Kia, and some of the VW Group vehicles. But I think his biggest competitor by far will be the Mark II ZS EV. Now, in terms of pure list pricing in cash, I don't think, in my honest opinion, that the slight quality of life improvements, so for example, better refinement, better road noise management, slightly better interior quality, I don't think that would sway me towards not purchasing a ZS EV. Bear in mind, though, that compared to the SE long range, it's £5,000 more expensive on list price or £2,200 more expensive than the Trophy long range. I would probably purchase a ZS EV for that reason. If you are desperately wanting a panoramic sunroof as well, you cannot get the Mark II ZS EV brand new with a panoramic sunroof, I believe, anymore. This might be a pointless comparison, to be honest. On lease, for example, or PCP, if, for example, the Mark II ZS EV was more £50, £80 a month cheaper, I'd probably go for that and save the cash. I think if the price difference for the MG is, let's say, less, £60 a month less compared to the Atto 3, I'd probably purchase a ZS EV. If not, the Atto 3 is a better car, happily have the quality of life improvements. The one car that I do definitely want to try, however, is that BYD Dolphin. I believe that they've done something, especially with that £25,500 starting price, that could be a bit of a game changer in a way in the market. Stay tuned if I do actually receive one for testing. So I think that's pretty much it. So if you liked the video or you found it informative, please give it a like, dislike it if you didn't. Please stay tuned for that range test video as well. By the way, have a look at the London to Brighton EV video up here, where that's going to be, and in fact actually see this vehicle on its test route and put it through its paces. And I think that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and talk to you later.